Okay, so it's the opening session over there in London, I suppose. And I'm buying the dollar yen right here. I'm getting it at the market. I'm going to try to post this latest version of this demo. So I'm constantly dialing the demo in to be a little bit more better. That's the goal, is to get the execution so that you can pull the trigger for what needs to be a trigger pull and what needs to be a pending, because you don't want to always be a trigger puller. There's not that many good trades unless you're babysitting this thing. You're literally waiting for some price, and you put a price alarm there. And I would say just put an order there. Donate one order to that. So you're going to put in 20 orders a day, say. And maybe none of them fill. But you still got your money at the end of the day, and then you'd have to wrestle with the feeling of missing out. So to get rid of the feeling of missing out, you need to buy something, even if it sucks. So you'd buy the smallest position and put a 100 pip stop on it, and just, it wouldn't matter what time of day you got into that trade. If you had a 100 pip stop on that, it kind of really wouldn't matter, because if you believe that the market goes up and down, that could become a winner or a loser at that moment, and then you could get out of that trade. So it just, even on a demo, you know, you practice on a demo, and I don't care. I mean, I guess it depends on who you are. Some people think that's real money, and some people have a completely different attitude towards a demo account than real money. But I don't know if what it costs to do some things is such a ridiculous number. People throw out these numbers, and I'm like, how can you ask that much for something like that? Like, I buy these parts, right, that are really small, and they want $200 for a little piece of titanium that's machined out, and I'm thinking, you're kidding, right? Like, you got a fucking robot making this thing. It's just titanium. Is titanium that expensive? I don't know. Anyways, that's another. So you'll run across shit in the world where you say this, and people, all these gold bugs, think it should be worth 10 grand. The world's not right. Listen, according to what? Where's the other planet we're going to compare it to? And I don't know. I'm angry. And I don't know. But it's very frustrating trading, because if you have this idea that the market's going in a particular direction, or that it's going to go up and then come back, even retrace, like you're just planning on the retrace, that trade, it's done and gone. If your target, if you can see where the other people are coming into the party, you can see the flow there. If you're up on the trade, you probably would get out if, so they'd say risk 2% of your account, but how many, you're trying to make 10%. Now, if you're up 10% and you just got out of a 2% risk, you can just get right back in the market with another order. So say you bought a 1K with a 50 pip stop, and you're like, okay, I'm risking $5 today. Wow, really, a daredevil. And then at the end of the day, you just, and then you give that trade to somebody else. Give that trade to somebody to manage. Give it away. Right? Just like buy somebody's stock. You know, open a trading account for somebody, put $100 in there, put no stop on the trade. You're risking $100. You get 1,000 pips against you. How long is it going to take? You're down $20 on that trade. Are you feeling about that? No, would you feel any different? You bought, like, I don't understand all this furniture people buy. You know, you buy a bed, take it home. You spent like $2 grand on some bed. How much does a used bed go for, right? We don't know what you've done on that bed. We don't know what kind of fraternizing. So, but people wouldn't think, people have such a lost bias when it comes to trading. They don't think about, oh, you just bought something, and of course it's gonna, like, this is why you would incrementally buy it. But then you're not, you say you're not buying big enough to make money. Well, if you don't like the price, just put your order 2 pips deep. You think the market can't go down 2 pips? Even in an uptrend, you think it can't pull back 2 pips? Doesn't make sense, right? And this whole thing about because if the market's constantly fluctuating, you should be able to come up with a trade plan where you make 3 pips, risking 1 pip. Even though you would get stopped out of that, you would realize you need to put a 10 pip stop if you want to make 5 pips. If you're a scalper, right? And you're like, okay, I'll get out of that trade. But you have to get the fuck out of that trade. In other words, the 5 pip take profit's forcing you to get out. It's a shitty trade, but you're not going to pull the trigger like that, just over trade it. You still have your amazingly, geniusly set orders at the fresh lows to get in for the basement bargain prices, and that's already pre-laid scalp out. So I'm going to post this demo, which is, I'm still rewriting scripts because I kind of fucked up the beginning here. But I want to make this realistic. So what I have here is an estimated cost. I should probably round these numbers up to be more realistic. But the last number on here happens to be the out-of-pocket. I like that, out-of-pocket. Like, reach into your pocket trade. So I'd buy some more dollar yen right now in this pullback. So I have a market order here, and every 5 minutes I'm going to that it's down. Trade plan being buy low, sell high. I would buy on the 5. So we bought right here the 25-yard line, and we stop buying when it goes up. If you didn't buy enough, now you would say, well, should I break that rule in sizing? Maybe a little bit, right? Buy one more. Okay, then you stop here. Now that's quite a bit of margin to the normal person. This is really spending a lot of money on time on a demo. And time's money, right? I could be I'm pulling the trigger on other accounts, but this is a painfully obvious trade, right? This time of day. The other painfully obvious trade of the day here, scalp-wise, if you're babysitting the 5-minute chart, was the obvious clusterfuck trap. So you have your buy limits in here, and you get picked up. The ATR 10 pip ATR here, 10-minute ATR here is so fucking small that robot should be on top of that trade, right? You should have a breakout bot that can get in. Vacuum forms, robot just keeps coming in with this shit, right? Where's this fucking robot, damn it? That's the obvious fucking scalp bot. How has that not been written yet? Now that would make, I would let that thing babysit my fucking, it's, as soon as the ATRs go like this, it says, how about 3 bars in a row filter? 3 baby bars, put on a trade, right? 2 baby bars, put on a little scalp, not the best trade in the world, huh? Goes the other way. Goes fucking just getting in here like fat. Just out. Cancels all. In fact, this ATR here is so big that it just goes and it doesn't touch anything for... It's waiting for 2-bar filter. Then you have another robot coming in on top. The 15-minute robot. He only takes 15 minutes small ATR. So he would have got in here. He would have joined the 5-minute. He would agree with the 5-minute bot. And they both would have traded that breakout. Or you have some ass clown you hired to just here and press buttons. I like this prop house fucking stuff you hear about. What is a prop house? Let me get a prop house going. Here, sit. You see the screen? Watch it. If you start falling asleep, get your fucking self some coffee, whatever you need. And then I want you to pull the trigger like a freak. When you see it walking, in fact, especially if you see it come into here, like you mark this, you put an alarm, right? You put like a taser on the guy's, crotch, and you tell him, when this comes to here, you're going to wake up and you're going to hit the trigger right there. That's what initiates the trade, right? Then you've got the trend line that you drew here. You got this perfect breakout, come back, find support, right? That's a classic. But it's really about the volatility is getting smaller here. You're forming the wedge. And the controversy, are we going to come back, fill all this? I don't know. This hammer here, if anybody bought this hammer just before it closed, I bought this hammer and I held here and I got out here and then I kind of reloaded here, but I never got filled. My buy limit's never filled, so I had to unfortunately come in and kind of angered by it here a little bit. No, here I bought because I missed this move here and I wasn't going to sell into this. I wasn't going to sell. This is the seller's window. You revisit this triangle and the sellers come in there, obviously, right? You have to have your stop up at this. Now we're going north into, I'm going to set these big grid banks. I started up at the top here. Somebody asked me how many orders is in here. I don't really know. I don't really count, but this is the actual dollar risk. So here's how it runs on the the format I'm going with here is that this first thing designates how many pip range it is. So it's going to buy 3 contracts or 3 tickets in a 2 pip box, which means it's going to buy the top of the box and the middle of the box and the bottom of the box. This is 2 pips. And because 0 is 1, right? And you're going to buy 1, 2. So you're going to buy a 3 in a 2 pip range. So you can put up a 2 pip grid and see 2 pips. So that was very disturbing at first for me to build these scripts because it's not, you're counting 0. And the only reason 0 is here is so that the list runs baby to huge. So this is the smallest ticket you can have is a 1 by 1 ticket on one handle. So as soon as you go down 1 pip, or we could have 2 on 1. We had 1 pip box, but you're counting 0. And so when you go to and some of these I have to rewrite them. See, these are wrong, but this is how it's going to go dollar-wise at the end. $3 to make $6. So linear just means it's going to buy evenly. Now, if it's going to be logarithmic and a 10 pip box, it's going to say by 0 where your cursor tip is, and these are invertible. So this would be if you place this order above current price, it's a sell limit. If you place it below, it becomes a buy limit. So it's universal tickets. And here's the stop: 10 to make 20, 12 to make blah, blah. This is your real dollar risk. And like I said, still rewriting these. But yeah, you're always rewriting. So if you wrote something, you want to streamline it. At first, you may blather out, you may have these great ideas, and of course, you have to test everything that you think of just in case. That's the unfortunate part about trying to dial something in, is that you may overshoot the runway, but at least you're on the runway, right? You can't, there's no getting around the mess that you make, the eggs that you have to break to get out of that trap, the mental trap. And of course, the scripts lead you out of the trap. They will first be the problem because you're going to write a script. If you're a bad trader, you're going to write bad scripts. But or you're going to overtrade the scripts you have. And having this semi-automated approach. Now, to get a robot to have half a brain is pretty tough sledding. I don't know if a robot, like he's vacuuming your house, he's going to notice that item costs more than the other item. I don't know if he's got that much sense. So is he going to avoid the vase that you accidentally put on the floor? It just fell on the floor and didn't break, right? You ever seen that? It bounces amazingly. And here comes the robot, right, in some cruel hoax. and wipes out the vase because he just hits it just right. Well, that's how I feel about these EAs people are talking about. Really, you know, with that fucking puppy? Oh, God. Next thing you know, it's like, you know, we gotta pull its power pack. And of course, you know, it's a crazy market. There's buyers and sellers are making money all day long. You never see volatility like this. And the British pound trade, is where I left off in this video, still having the worst time of it trying to get past this wick here. Just the worst time of it. Oh, this is my magical indicator I built yesterday. But see, you don't need all that. If you're going to just trade bar by bar, it's like alcoholic trading, one day at a time. See, your ATR bot would have got in for you here, 2 out. Like, he had buy stops and sell stops running here, and he's got you long. He would have put you long here too. So, you know, the ATR bot, I tried to get it out to run, but honestly, it's a piece of shit. I don't know what it's looking at. I can see the entry. There's something lost in translation or something. There's something wrong with the, you need Siri connected to MT4 code so you can just yell at the yell out your, see, when you see this, do this. Now, this is a trade I got into near the end of the video, and I kept launching this huge grid. I think this was actually a button press on this. But look how it picked up this thing in such a highly detailed spectrum of orders. It doesn't get any better than that. I could have a little bit more diffusion on that. But this is essentially, you know, these are the grid. These are the actual hand-placed grid, I think, because, see, the ratios are pretty dead on as far as stop to take profit. Now, this is the greedier one, so I put 2 versions in there. It may not be the genius trade, right? It may, and of course, would you adjust your take profits at this point? Or would you just get the fuck out? If you're up $3 million at this point, maybe you're just peeling a few off there. My target happens to be, and this is completely random, mind you, the top of that wick and beyond. Those are going to be good prices. This is the big secret, is that people put so much importance on some extension of Fibonacci. Dude, it's just a price higher than where you're at now. It's all those prices are acceptable targets. In fact, every fucking pip from here 100 up is an acceptable target. Imagine you're in a $5 million position right now and you're going to get out every 2 pips it goes up. I've done that trade on demos, done that trade in micros. I'm not going to get in a $5 million position when I can just trade if I trade $5 million a month spread over all these tickets, what do I care? One trade, I'm gonna. So yeah, you can really read the market, and you can really get good at seeing the holes that are about to fill and how they're going to fill it, because they're going to backfill the small hole, and the market's going to weave its way out of this congestion. How does it get out of this thing? And what is the biggest inversion? Like, a reversal is got to be the most money you'll ever make in the shortest period of time. Is the reversal, the getting in at the edge of a hammer, a giant pin bar. People talk about these pin bars. Every time I heard that pin bar stuff, I just want to die. Like, look at a big pin bar here. I'm like, wow, I missed that. I just thought I missed a great trade. I should have traded that pin bar, because you could have grids laid in to trade that thing. From a breakout standpoint, something before that pin bar was a small bar, and then there had to be a scenario that was very simple. It's not that it went up or down. The nice thing about the market is it is so binary. It either went up or down. There's nothing else to put on that story. I mean, you can layer on oh, this country's doing that, and that's because of this, and but in the end, what does it matter, right? You're up in the you're looking at the clock. You're okay. It's this time of day. Market gets crazy, and if you're up, you would just get out. If it's a big trade, right? More money than you've ever seen, like normally. You would have to, because psychologically you couldn't bear to be in some monster trade and then have it all go and hit your stop or blow up the account. I don't know if anybody's ever done that. But, I've had thousands of dollars in an account without stops and just thought, well, I only put $200 in this account. So I'm up $5,000 and just wipe it out. It took me about 3 days to wipe it out. Sometimes it only take about 3 minutes, but you just think, that's interesting. That's a lot of fucking... And I didn't get to that money accidentally. I kind of anger traded it without a stop. So I knew basically, like, this is a deep discount price. And I would just keep buying into it. I'll swing trade it for 6 days across about 10 brokers. And this is back when anybody could trade. Back before the nanny state, like, oh, you're gonna run with scissors? You're running with scissors. If you're trading forex, you're running with scissors. You just have to be good at running with scissors. That's all. And then the people say, well, leverage can work for you and against you. I guess so, but you're just winning and losing money. The only reason people have a problem with the margin is because the dollar doesn't make sense. You're looking at risk. You've got how much in your account, and you're literally trading more money than you could ever handle in the real world. So if you're only using $2 to control $1,000, you couldn't do that in the real world. So that number on the platform is disturbing for people. But also disturbing is if you think about the lottery ticket buyer, he's getting all these lottery tickets, and he's when he adds those up at the end of the year, he's like, fuck, that's a lot of money, and so. But I think my targets will be hit here on this British pound. But we could have gotten anywhere along this. This same scenario could have played out, as you can see here. And this hideous looking, I may have to bail on this template. Because I think once you get used to, it's kind of like, I guess you just end up going for quieter and quieter things as time goes on. You don't need to know, I can see the highs and lows, plus I don't want any lag on it. It's going up. And it's got to have a exit. The exit's not until you go way back here on the weekly and do a major zoom out. You can see, well, I can't wait. Let's get some zoomed out as here. Can't seem to get that to zoom out for it. So yeah, the big target in everybody's mind for anybody's the super duper swing trader is going to get out, way up here. So we're going to ride this dollar yen up. Now, at any point here, if you don't think you're in enough margin on something, just run trailing buy limits behind this thing. Like this. So this is key number, if anybody cares, on this platform, because, everybody's going to have their own interpretation. This is key number 2 here. If you double click key number 2, it's putting in 15-minute buy limits. And of course, it depends how much money you have in the account, because if you keep hitting that, this is super deep 30-minute. Very hard to fill this ticket. It can fill, though. That's the one thing that this stuff can really happen. Like, you're standing there and you can't believe this plunge here earlier had you netted this plunge here, it's just a great feeling, honestly. When you put an order bank in that starts here and you're willing to buy this plunge, if you're buying it while it happens, 5-minute chart, you've either got your bank in here and you're watching this. If you're babysitting, you're putting in the buy stops on top if you're a breakout trader. If you're gonna pre-plan the whole thing, immense buy limits, scalp to here on some big fat order with a stop here, but it has to be this dense, just right, Goldilocks trade, just right. And here, you're saying, I'm putting on more buy stops. I'll buy at the market every 5 minutes it's down. So here's a buy at the market ticket. All this stuff's working in concert. The ATRs are still small here. You buy at the market, you put a buy stop. Now, you're getting into multiple positions based on what the market's telling you it needs. You revisit this fucking price. You could either add here or you've dumped everything in the planet because you can see the trap here. Right? It's just trap to trap. That's all it is. Everything else is in your mind. Heaven's in your mind, right? It's a 3-dog night. Heaven's in your mind. Triple bottom. Doesn't hold. Doji, but bam, we fall and go into auction mode in the middle of the night. Go figure. Has anybody ever seen these markets go up? Everybody's excited. Wah, wah, wah. So you got to dump when the dumping's good, and you got to reload. It's a lot of work to rebuild an entry. So here I'm going to buy on these pullbacks. Now this I'm going to go nuts. It's a demo. I'll put this in super thick. Every time I click that, 15 minutes of exposure to some monster, and this is not bad ratios here. We're going to buy 2, 4, 6, 8 pips deep with a stop down here. Okay. So, and these ones also are in here. I haven't changed these. Now this is a whole different concept where you're going to buy for 1 hour, 2 hour, 4 hour, where up here you're going to literally, these are all set to 8 hours. And this is the pip range, this is the dollar amount. So this is a 10K 9 pip box. But you can make one for every, I guess some brokers coming online. You can make one for every one of these. You could have literally, 1, 2, 3, all the way to how many pips, right? You could take it all the way to the, through the whole spectrum, right? There's no limit. And even though these are limit tickets here on this concept here of limit grids, precision drop though. The one that I'm hitting there, the C2, is just a double click where it's hard written in. How many pips deep? All these are drag and drops, so it's up to you to fuck it up. It's up to you to design it on the spot. You've shown up at a project with 8x10s, and you're only allowed to start buying down here. Place it right on the wick. So there's your first ticket coming in. Like if I wanted to buy this vacuum down here, and I want to buy, it looks like a ferocious news is coming out here. Right here, if I wanted to buy this pullback here, it's going to buy these 3 tickets and a 2 pip grid. Oh, baby wants to go through the roof now. So looking for a big run up here, dollar yen. It's pissed. I can understand that. So we're about to break out the 4-hour bar from the last. And here's where I start selling. Just like unbelievably aggressively. It's just above yesterday's high. So let's see what comes of this. And the British pound is staring down the targets here. Let's fix the grid here to really see it happen. So here's your big market maker exits up here, people. Just beyond the tree tops. That's the exit, British pound. Okay, they've trapped these guys on the yen. I'm looking for a huge rip back on the yen. So the problem, these are commingled. I'd have to take out the yen trades now separately, which I don't want to do. See the yen. The scalp's over. Here comes the sellers like you can't believe. Right? Obvious scalp entry. Big sell banks in there triggered. You're out. Now, do we start buying on pullbacks? I say yes. So I'll go like this manually. I'll come in, put these drops back at the starting gate. How many times these fucking markets come back to the starting gate? This is why, this is the only reason for this style of trading. Is you're saying, I don't want, look, this is my account, Pip Health. I'm on Pip Whore right now. This is a 5 pip range, 6 tickets. 10 pip stops. We want to buy this if it pulls back. Always. It doesn't even matter. Look what this thing has burst to. So you had to get out of something there. And if you didn't, now here's buy at the market. Here's the 15-minute trailers. Now here's where it gets dicey. The ones that are still pending. You don't want to have too many outstanding tickets, like they say, you know, you're writing checks that you can't cash. Now this is pretty conservative here. Put in small orders like this. Right, as you come into this area here, right on this top, you're going to buy 3K with a 12 pip stop. Here I just wrote this 15 pip stop. Same concept, 3K. And just very tight zone there. Now, if I want to layer up and go in between this, I can go for the half pip. You just, right at the tip of the cursor there. Now we just put in. So if you really want to trade 100K, people talk about this 100K, you would just do it like this. You get to 100K real quick here, believe it or not. And you're just going to put these streamers in like this and buy these wicked pullbacks. A high probability that we're going to come back. Even if it's only for the scalp of it. Here's my 15-minute. I'm going to put in some manuals that start here. So there, you're just getting filled on this rip back. Now we could go zooming up, or we're going to crush down and blow this whole bank out. But you have to be okay with that, see. Now this is hitting the profits here. We're going to let this thing cash out. You have to be okay with losing. And this really could come ripping back. Now here's where I put in the outlandish black swan orders. What if this thing comes ripping back down to here, say, and you're not here for this 8 hours from now? Can you imagine the market plunging below here? Yes. Who couldn't? Anybody that's looked at this chart can see that that's completely possible. And don't forget, if you're a scalper, this is the stuff these other guys are looking at. Your orders. You're buying 4 pips deep. And here it looks psychotic. It's like, how can you wouldn't even think to trade like this on this chart. But people want to put that, you're living here. You may think that you're living over there, but you're not. This is the high of yesterday. This is the low of today. You're right in the middle of fair value. Anything can happen here. We're either going to break out to the down, we're going to rip up to the high. This last burst up, Is it a time to buy in pullbacks? If you go to the 5-minute chart, this is what a 5-minute chart person would think. And you're on that's the daily. That's what I could never figure out. When I first started trading, I thought, well, wait a minute, the daily, people go, well, you go down to the 5-minute. Well, you better fix the scale, because people are going to go, well, the 4-hour, I'm like, have you seen the 5-minute? Like, you're buying if you're scalping, you have to babysit this thing and buy it here, buy here, buy here, and see the kickback? You buy at the market on close, you still have to have your trailing limits to pick that up. This had to be your exit for a burst. You have to come back in. This story goes on very tightly here. This is your buy. Buy fresh lows. Limits never get filled. Sell fresh. Sell this high. Stops in here. This is a whole scalp trade. If you wrote your script tight enough, that's a whole, and big enough. People say you're only making 3 pips. Yeah, but it's on a standard lot, right? So it's $30. Boom, boom, boom. You got all this shit going off. Now here, everything written here is 1K. Believe it or not, all these fucking orders in here are baby orders. Okay, so I'm going to buy at the market, right? If I was short, I'd be getting the fuck out. I'd be like, I don't think it's going to go down again. Like, you got to think, what are the bears thinking? They're like, Jesus. And of course, the 4-hour, like, how even... Anybody that looks at this chart's going to go, well, wait a minute, let me see where the highs and lows are. You got to go like this. Frame it. It's how you frame the market. It's what's happening right now and how you frame it. So if you go from the 4-hour, you can see the only support and resistance that matters right now is that. Then you would go to the 1-hour. You'd be like, holy shit. Whoa. There's so many Gartleys in there, right? If you're going to, on closing prices only. See, this whole thing about candlesticks and why they suck, this is the ultimate. This is what RSI is based on, is closing price. Who could deny the simplicity of closing price? Only a retard can get this right. But then people want to lean on the fucking idiot lights. My car overheating like a bitch. The gauge went up. I really wish there was a blinking light on this thing, though. So, here, it looks like buy at the market, right? If you go to the 1-minute chart, this is the pullback. Buy here at the market. Then, buy-in limits, and here. Now, we could be wrong. It comes flying all the way back. If you set super tight stops with the idea that you're going to put a buy limit bank super deep to get picked up on the possibility that there will be a vicious retest, then it's totally cool, because now you're going to get blown out of that pack, pick up a high probability entry here, start putting buy limits in down here. And all these have black arrows. I don't know if it matters. Black arrows for the entries on the limits. And blue here, and then my cells, which I don't have any, all my cells are way up in the nosebleed. So the cells are a trade plan for later on tonight. 8 hours, cell grids. Almost randomly placed up here at the top. And now we've got to come in, and I suppose you'd call it chasing. I'm going to come at the market here. Buy some at the market. So not too much, and this guy should be cashing out of something. I don't know if we got out of that, but see, look at here comes this backs off, and that may be it for this British pound. You know, it never goes the way you think. And if you're expecting a breakout on this thing, you may be sorely mistaken. It may never get there. No, I don't know. We still got time here. Still got a couple hours here. We get a poke through the top. So I'm actually up $900, right? I could get out of everything I'm at and walk away. And that's not bad for 3 days of trading. And I think it was down about 1,000 at one point. So if I go from the making the money back from being down 1,000, I'm up 1,900, right? Recovered. And actually bank the balance, so I'm in $850, $58 of margin. Oh, here we go. So we pop the top on this British pound, and maybe we pop the top on the dollar to the yen. So they can move in concert. Just because just because it's the dollar doesn't mean shit. What's really happening is these holes are filling. And people want to make the story up after the fact. Well, it's Brexit. No, dude, it's just there's nobody that wants that currency. Now, Brexit started 10 years ago for the currencies. Clobbered. They used to trade at $2.10 or something ridiculous. And this is nothing but, it's always in recovery or smashdown. They're either beating the shit out of it in one direction or the other. It's all that these markets are over the counter, no government intervention. Wild West, still trading the Wild West. Okay, so it's about to crush through the top of this, and just can't seem to get the party started. Then this is where you'll get a breakout pullback, but we just want to get the fuck out. I don't want to stand around for the antics. It might go crazy straight up. Now, we could buy in pullbacks after the fact even. If you put the right spacing and the right sizing, you should be able to trade anything out there. It's like if you have a wide enough angle lens, say you have some fisheye lens all the way down to a telephoto, you should be able to pretty much shoot anything, right? There shouldn't be any excuse. If you're a photographer, especially these days, right? That's the thing. You know, the old days, you couldn't place this, you couldn't move this many orders around. Now it's a digital world. It's just like digital photography. There is no limit. You can get another chip and throw it in there and just keep shooting like an idiot, taking bad pictures. Go fix it in the mix, edit it later. So people are pretty slob. People don't dial in a shot like they used to. How they shoot the whole thing on their fucking iPhone or whatever. It's the same thing in trading. Why aren't you just throwing orders out there? Like, you don't know which photo is going to be the good photo. You don't know which trade's going to be the best trade. Same technology. You could not call your broker and say, yeah, I'd like to lay a order grid, and they'd go, you're going to need a new broker. That's what you're going to need. You know, you can give them a list of, I want to buy every handle all the way. Yeah, maybe they would take the order. Right? Big fucking commissions, though. You're going to pay, you're going to pay more commissions. You can open up a broker. You can open a forex account for what you used to pay for commissions at a futures broker. I don't know if people realize, these people that just walked into the forex market realize it's like free. You're trading for free, really. There's no, like, literally, it's unbelievable the break you're getting, especially if they let you trade with margin. And here's the vicious pullback on the yen. So we're going to buy more dollar yen here on limits. I sense a vicious pullback coming. This could be it, actually. We could get a psycho plunge. British pound's cashing out, though. So this is not the most efficient use of the account to trade all these currencies on one account, because you're like, well, okay, looks like another buy. Tentative, trying to get a follow-through breakout on the dollar yen here. So trying to get the sizing right, loading into this thing. See, I have so many pending buy limits. So I buy at the market, and now I only have a few really high target stops here. Let's put the high target stops in. Now I'll put in the 8 hour. I don't have to babysit these limits. Put in the scalpers, 12 pips to make 18. Same down here. And some long-legged buy stops. So these would be the trend buy stops here. Buying on pullback. As the British pound is going after the historical, for the moment historical, last month's high, which is actually, there's just a huge vacuum up here. Coming up on this bottom from the weeklies. Here's a doji. Another target is this doji. This will be the most obvious target. Once you clip this wick in this window here, so you'd sell all the way into that, right? If you're going to scalp it in the other direction today, you start laying in all these things, right? Based on if you can afford the trade. Okay. So maybe this is going to tank. So we want to make money if it tanks. So I'll put all the sleeper cells down here. Just don't duplicate any orders. Try to get a high resolution entry like this where everything is a half a pip apart. Like here, there's no orders in here, all the way down in here. See, it's just not going to matter. If that thing tanks, I want it down there cheaper. Here we're just tortuously coming up on the targets here. It's the torture, man. It literally, everybody can see where the market's eventually going to end up at some point, and it just takes forever to get there. It's a 20-hour ride. Okay, flash crash on the yen here. Let's try to pick up these tickets, see what happens. Just monster buy limits here. I gotta put my yeah, I'd say buy that about 16 pips deep for 2 hours. So this is where you'd really have to direct people. If you had some prop house you run like this limit that you have to tell people, listen, what do you think, 8 hours, 80 pips? Can this thing drop? How many pips and how much time? Look at this thing gobble up all these limits. Hopefully we're making money here on this British pound to pay for this entry. Look at this thing. Man, you gotta love that contrarian entry. Okay, I put the 30-minute buy limits in now. One thing about these fast moves, they don't last. Okay, so buy stops. We're letting this thing cash out, I think. Okay. Those are all buy limits. Psychotic. That was a psycho. Pull back your countdown, though. Look how they took this right up to the tippy top. This is the seller's scalp. Here you can see you would have got filled. Your settlement needs to be right up there. Bam. First target's going to be here, and you definitely blew through that. This is the deeper target. 5-minute charts really show you that flash crash. Still crashing. So here's where you start buying, like, down in here, tight stops. Still looking for another plunge. It happens so often. You need a lot of dry powder. Trade this shit. You have buy limits down here. Pending. Here we go. It's like magic. Magic fill. See if I can put in a super dense pack here as we just keep smashing down in. Okay, so these are the more, if you don't have it written the right key thing, then you would just be like, okay, let me hand place some outside what you think is outside of, it's an inconceivable price, just outside the reach of the current price down in here. And there should be some scalps in here to get something off the table before it breaks out the 5-minute bar. So you really want to get in here as hard as you can. Then it's going to be at some point you would stop hitting buttons, because unless you don't think you're in big enough and you want to buy one at the market here. Because to put a buy stop up here is kind of ridiculous. You're going to overpay and you're already in. And you've got pendings below that could fill. So if it does come flying back, you definitely don't want to add, because only saying from experience, if you add on the way back also, you may have just overloaded it. It's better to buy at the end of the 5-minute period in a complete shaved candle than it is to put a buy stop above at this point. Now, if this is your margin usage, you want to use under $1,000 of margin, right? You have to set, this would have be your trade plan, trading like this style is to say, I'm only going to, if I'm in $1,000 of margin, this is most margin I'll be in today. I don't know about that percentage risk. I guess you'd have to do the math on every stop you're running on every ticket, but I wouldn't bother with that. I would just say, oh, I just think I'm losing money. That's what I do. This 2% shit, or 20, this fucking guy with the 20%, the guy that talks like a child molester, that guy, you know, he 20 pip stop, really, or 20% and all this. I'm like, I'm never going to be that guy. So this would be where you should be getting out of something. Look how frantic this is. I don't know if there's news coming out. It does look like a crush is coming. And the sellers, so you had to balance, you had to get out of that trade. Oh, we finally cashed out of something there. Look at that. Baby just couldn't break out. Look how torturous that is. Not to mention when it does break out, it's going to come ripping back. People are like, well, I got that breakout there and you know, it kind of trapped me there a little bit. You know, this trading thing's kind of rigged. I don't know if I want to do it anymore. Yeah, it's pretty brutal here. No trades here. And here's my big, look at this fucking trade here, dollar CAD. How retarded is this? Anybody falling for these fake breakouts? Breakouts on the 4-hour. Come on, this is obvious. Sell, buy, and this was incredible. This buy here was incredible. And then sell, and buy, and sell. And dollar CAD's really good for that. Okay, time to buy the dollar yen again. Got a real love-hate relationship with this dollar yen. Only if you're on the wrong side. Okay, so we're long and we're waiting. I do think they could smash it down. This looks like a complete... Now it looks like they're going to smash it to the floor here. Let's see what happens. Hopefully at that point we're cashing out of this guy. So we're making another run for the border. Looks like a flag on the 5. It's a go. Yeah, it looks like a crush. Looks like a complete bloodbath coming on dollar yen here. Hard to say there. You have to let the breakout. They've trapped the breakout traders on to the north side, and they're about to break this 1 hour support. So we got to hold in here, and we might come down here. So I would not be against buying down here in better prices. So looks like they're going to smash it down a little bit. So if I'm only trying to make 20 pips, I got to buy 20 pips deep if I want to get out where I'm at now, where the price is now. So you're thinking ahead of the next move. If you need to buy down here for a bounce up into this wick. Okay, here comes the crush. 8 hours on these tickets, and just put them over on these wicks. Plenty of ridiculous volatility at this time of day. Look at this thing just slashing around. It's unbelievable. Honestly, I'd say it's very disturbing, especially if you're holding some monster position, which I just refuse to do. Okay, I think I'm going to buy some at the market here. So you really don't want to get on, you want to visualize the stops that would be getting filled, but you want to, for the most part, see if you can load the wagon down in this void. Now you're going to wait, maybe put some buy stops in there. See, those are above the thing. That's would be the conservative high-risk entry. So it's funny because people talk about aggressive entry. To me, that's any entry's aggressive entry. Anytime you're adding to a trade. Okay, 5 minutes. Bottom of the hours here. Now, this will be pretty brutal. If there's news coming out, we could just slice straight down. That's always the other option. Don't forget, the other side of this coin is a complete slice down, but these bears did pretty fucking good on that trap up here in the 15-minute wick. They cleaned up pretty good. I would definitely would have got out of almost everything by this internal top. I mean, it only made sense. This is fair value up down in here. This would definitely have been the, if you sold this and you got out here and you just made all that money in 15 minutes, you've got to just be loving it, right? That's a beautiful non-directional trade, because what could you say? You know, were you trading that because it's an uptrend? No, you're just trading because it's just a price extreme. So here's the moment of truth. Are we going to hold this and make another attempt at that, or is it just basically forget about it? We're going to go keep coming back. So in the half hour, you had to get out of, if you were trading that breakout, that trade's gone. Now the ATR is too big on the last half hour to really, you can't do anything. ATR is too big. The only small, now the stop bot got filled here with order flow. So you have to let that cash out. The 5-minute exit's going to be the obvious time exits here, and the obvious wick exit's going to be. If you could take out 20% of the position, here's your 20%. You get out the 22% position right there. Now we could just go to hell. Anybody ever seen the market do that? I don't think I've ever seen the market not do something. Like here, you think it's going up. At this point of this chart, you see a hammer, you put your stop in, you put your protection here, we're going to go up. No. Did not happen. Every scenario you can think of, it could still go the other way. So your parachute, if you can make money from your backup plan, but it's worth it to build a position and then dump it and just take that money and go. Because in the next few minutes, the market just could offer up an amazing price that you've been looking for a better price, really. But I go on eBay, I just hit the buy it now key. Now I know you're supposed to bid stuff there, but I trade at the market on eBay. I'm like, I want it, there it is. It's a tangible thing. And these things, no, not really, because I'm not buying like, if I'm buying, it'd be like buying a cell phone one part at a time. You wouldn't do that. You just buy but trading, you're incrementally getting in and out of stuff. Well, I am, just because I can't absorb some giant. I let the market decide how big I should be in. I let the market decide whether I should be in. Like if you let the market come to your limits. Now, you could place trade plans that never fill, and some of the stuff that yesterday I knew was never going to fill. I knew it was never going to fill, but if you look at the daily chart and you ask yourself, or you can't look at the daily chart. See, look at the half-hour chart and you ask yourself, do you think the market could come down here in 8 hours? Well, maybe in 8 hours, right? It could fill this monster buy bank, and if you did the math and all these numbers on the right column here, you'd figure out your true risk of ruin, they call it. Here, $9 to make $12, right? You're going to buy here. You're going to buy 10 pips apart for a 20 pip area. And now we're waiting again. Of course, this thing doesn't ever have to go anywhere for me to make money. You could just do all this bullshit. Now, this is noise to people. They aren't willing to trade that. The trade they want is this trade here. They want this. Now, this